Got my G.I. Joes, got my comic books, watching cartoon episodes. Watch me go and box, dead stop, Jaren on his toes. Watch me go and lock a whole new world you never know. On my freaking block, on my block, anything Joe's. Roll my badger into work today. Yes, sir, no, sir. I can't call this work today. I'm too clutch. Ain't no pun intended. Call me sir today. Check the prices out. My collection feeling bird today. Anything Joe.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name is Greg Engel.
And I'm Jaren Decker.
And we'll be your host today. Man, it's been a long time since I've had to say that. We're back from a holiday hiatus. We took a little time off for the holidays so we could just be with our families and just try to stay on top of things. Jaren and I haven't really talked a whole lot during that break just because we're both, busy dudes. Jaren, did you get anything of note for Christmas? Anything cool?
Oh, man. I have a bad memory about that kind of stuff, so let me think. Shoot. No, I don't think I really did.
That sounds like a no.
I'm like... Well, so the problem that I have is my birthday's also right before Christmas, so that whole, period has, it's, jumped in together. You get the double gift. Yeah, but also, sometimes gift. half gift. People are like,
oh
this is your birthday and Christmas. And I'm like,
right. The math doesn't say that. The math suggests otherwise.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works, but...
Don't feel bad, dude. I didn't really get anything either. I don't expect a whole lot, and people don't really know how to buy toys for me, which I get, right? Buying a G.I. Joe related thing for me, you got to go really outside the grid because it's hard to keep up with what I'm looking for. So I get why people don't. I got a air purifier for my room up here, real adult junk. Just I got a puzzle. I'm really entering that grandpa status of gift giving. But it'll be all ties before I know it. So I bought myself some Christmas stuff. I'll do every year, anticipating that no one will buy me any toys. I buy myself toys. The best Santa of all time. So anyway, I'm glad you had a good holiday. I'm glad to be back. And thanks everybody for being so patient. So I took a breather and got a refresher. It did not when you take a break from work and you're like, oh, I've been up for so long, I forgot how much I hate working. Because when you're just doing it all the time, you kind of are just into the groove. I did not feel that way with this. I've missed doing this. I'm happy to be back on it. Instead of getting caught up on all the stuff we missed while we were gone, I thought we would take a lap and look back at 2024 like pretty much everybody does that reviews toys. And we'd look at our top 10 2024 classified picks like we did last year. These are toys that were exclusively released in 2024. I know that's a little bit of a gray area because of the way classified's released. So if we got something and you got it last year or you haven't got it yet, just bear with us. Likewise, I would say, at least for my list, that the order is a little wiggly. There was some stuff that I felt like could go either way. My top 5, honestly, I feel is pretty even. So when you see my number 1, don't be like, what? Because I did feel like they were fairly interchangeable. Jaren and I will also, when we compare our list, if we have the same character on our list, we'll let whoever ranked them higher speak to their credit, so we're just not double dipping. Although knowing Jaren, I'm anticipating 2 very different lists. With that in mind, let's open her up and get started with Top 10 Classifieds 2024.
Let's just hope that this year you don't steal my number 1 pick right off the list. Last year you were like, my number 10 is, and I was like, oh, that's my number 1.
Well, at least with this system, if I do, you are the one that gets to speak to their merit, so I don't steal the thunder from it. Okay, do you want to do your number 10 first, or do you want me to do mine first?
You can go ahead.
Okay, my number 10 pick is Retro Beachhead. You're going to see a lot of the retro line on my list because I was very surprised by them. Although I'm not really wowed by the retro packaging at all. These are figures that I didn't really feel like at the time that I needed a retro version of. They brought them out because a lot of the figures from especially the early retro figures are the figures that are the furthest from their original design. Now that the classifieds mostly lean into that OG design primarily. So when I got Retro Beachhead, I was really kind of like taken aback at how excited I was to replace the kind of the modernized version with this one. I do not have an issue with that modern Beachhead at all. I thought it was very good, but it's something about throwing a little bit of a further throwback in a line that has really embraced that. I think he feels like he just belongs more. So yeah, good Retro Beachhead. Is Retro Beachhead on your list?
Retro Beachhead is on my list. Retro Beachhead is number 6 for me.
I already forgot that you are supposed to be the person that talks about it because I was so excited to get into it.
You're fine. Hey, listen, we can talk more about Retro Beachhead. Retro Beachhead,
please do. Retro
Beachhead is the one for me that I was like, I don't really need that because I do also like the original release Beachhead. And then it was at Kentuckiana is when I picked one up. And I was like, oh, this thing, sweet. Like, you know, it's easy to forget how far we've come in just a short time for just the actual bodies of like the way the figures are made. You know, the original Beachhead, he has pins, you know, the body construction. It's fine, but it's not as good as the newer stuff. You get into these newer, the retro collections, a lot of those, and, you know, spoiler alert for my list, you're going to see more of them. I'm sure for yours too.
Yes.
But they're just like the way that they've changed the hands. You don't see the pin on the hands as much, or the swivel spots. Like all these little, they were incremental improvements as they came out. Same thing with like the weapons. The weapons on the retro collections are incredible. I mean, about as good as you can get, as faithful as you can get, and then a lot of times they give you options. So those incremental improvements that don't seem like a lot as they are changing, and then when you look back and compare the newest Beachhead to the original Beachhead, you're like, oh wow, like this is a leap, really. So yeah,
yes, absolutely.
I love the Beachhead. I love it.
I agree with that summary. Lots of little improvements that add up to a big, like an impactful figure. Good choice. So, what did you pick for number 10 then?
So my number 10 is the I don't even remember what event he was for or whatever. It's Starduster.
Some PulseCon, Comic Con,
10/27. Who knows? I don't even remember.
Just call it Exclusive Figure Con because that's the only reason we're here.
Yeah. So I know you had some feelings about this figure, but I absolutely loved the figure. Obviously, the body mold that they used, we've seen before. We'll see again, I'm sure. And I love the colors. I love the little cereal box. We still got to track down some cereal for you to take a munch out of. But
yes, our final episode where I die eating cereals coming soon.
But no, so the Starduster, I love the variations that you get with them. You can put his helmet on, give him his jump pack, make him look that way, or just kit him out for a regular mission. I think they changed him enough so that you can't tell he's just Duke. You know, they made him just a little bit different, but he is just Duke. But yeah, so the packaging, I think the price point was okay for where he was at and what he came with, but I really liked that figure, and it was one that actually stayed on my desk for most of the year. I think I just finally, when I was making room for the Dragonflies, you see I got a little bit of open space, I'm still shifting. I think I finally put him up there. But he was one that I kept here, I would fidget with and play with, so yeah. It is Starduster on your list?
He is not, and I'm not gonna I don't have anything negative to say. I know the paint scheme is what really kind of like knocks him off of my list, but I think he's still a great figure, and I'm really glad they made him.
Was he supposed to be more blue, or
it's like more of a teal.
Okay.
Like I'm really like being very detail oriented about it, which I'm not. Yeah, I think it could have been a little bit more on point. It's not a deal breaker, but it is why he's not on my list.
Okay, I got you.
All right, on to number 9. My number 9 pick is Retro Duke. So I told you I've got a lot of this retro wave. And is Retro Duke on your list?
Retro Duke is on my list. He is my number 2. You almost stole the top spot again.
Considering how radically different our like tastes are in this line, I'm actually surprised that there's even flipped. I'm always kind of surprised that there's always a couple that we share, but generally speaking, I don't expect to share a lot of them with you. All right, Retro Duke number 2 is much higher than my number 9, so take it away. Tell me what's so great about Retro Duke.
So Retro Duke, I think actually when we first talked about his release, when it got announced or maybe when it got revealed, I was like, I like the Duke we have so much. Like the regular Duke release is actually one of my top figures just in the line. Even though, like I just talked about the original release Beachhead, the body's a little outdated. There are things that they've updated along the way. I still love the original Duke. And I was like, I don't really need the Retro Duke, but I'll get him. But like I don't need him. And that was when I was starting to like try to cut back. And I am so glad that I did, because he is a perfect representation of the original Duke. I mean, very, very good modern interpretation of the O-ring figure. But also, aside from that, nostalgia aside, he is an incredible figure. You know, I just talked about it with Starduster. They're the exact same figure. The body mold, the joints, I mean, your butterfly joints, double elbow, you know, there's no pins. He looks... If you saw just him posed as maybe toy photography or something, it would be hard for you to be like, oh yeah, that's a $20 Hasbro action figure. Like the way that they've improved the quality of the figures, the joints and everything. I mean, you could trick people into thinking he was a much higher quality, whatever you want to say, type of figure. And oh man, that's really cool. You know, you can't see all this and that and that. The accessories are perfect. I love his helmet. I love the writing on the backpack. Such a cool figure. A lot of little details that they've really touched on. But yeah, so I love the Retro Duke.
Yeah, there's nothing I can add to that. You've summarized it perfectly. Everything that I said about Retro Beachhead, I would apply to this Duke. It was something I didn't really know that I needed until I got it, and now I don't feel like the line is complete without him. What did you choose for number 9?
So my number 9 is one of the more recent figures that I've picked up. It is actually Road Pig. I love that figure. Is Road Pig on your list?
No, Road Pig is not on my list.
Shocker.
I do not. I'm not happy with that Road Pig figure. Tell me tell me why you are.
I love the figure. Now, I think we had talked about it, again, once it got revealed. You weren't too big on needing an animal. And I understand that. I don't have the animal and Road Pig together. I don't know, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like he needs a pit bull or whatever kind of dog he's supposed to be. He's huge.
You're speaking my language now.
He's huge and buff and does his own thing. So, the dog's just chilling. My son loves playing with that action figure. And I like the animal figures. I'll take every animal figure you get. But that doesn't mean I have to keep him with the character that you gave him to me with. So he's just kind of hanging out with the rest of the Dreadnoks when I do have him, when my son's not stolen him. The dog, not Road Pig. Road Pig is, the size of that figure is just so much fun. I've always been a fan of big figs. There's a reason I like the McFarlane. You know, I've got a couple of those still behind me. Those figures are pretty big. I like that. I've been a 6-inch guy. That's what I collect. So that's already a bigger fig. But then once you get a bigger version of a 6-inch figure, it's like, oh, that's for me. So the accessories, I love. They give you a bunch of weird ones. You know, they have the actual metallic cyborg pig head, which I'm like, that's pretty sweet. Now I don't have that one on right now.
Stuff.
I don't have it on right now, but I love that. I love that you can change it up. And he's super posable. You know, his size doesn't really restrict him a whole lot, which I like. I got him. I found him actually in store. It's one of the figures I picked up in store, and I was ripped him open in the parking lot, and I was fidgeting with him and stuff. And it was such a fun experience, and I think that helped move him into my top 10 because it was just let's be honest. How many people actually buy figures in stores nowadays? Most of the time, it's I pre-ordered it and it'll be here, and then it might be in store shelves next year, or
right.
it's still the same Flint and Lady J, or whatever your store's holding on to. So when I walked in and got him, I was like, okay, yeah, this is like meant to be. So I love that figure.
That's awesome. I am not bringing any negativity into this episode. I'll save that for future episodes. I'm glad that you're pleased with it. There are things about that road pig I like. He's not on my list. Number 8. My number 8 choice is a surprise for me, at least, and it's Raptor. Jaren, is Raptor on your top 10 list?
So Raptor is one of those ones I have not got yet, along with some of the 60th anniversaries. I've not picked them up. I shifted to not pre-ordering. So fine. And listen, I'm not telling anybody how they should collect, but because of that, I was able to get the Stinger on discount. I was able to get the HMS on discount. I was able to get Doc on discount. Like, I was able to get quite a few of them, not having to even pay retail, which has been nice for my wallet. So that's the reason why Raptor is not on my list. Probably he seems cool.
Casual listeners might not know that Jaren is on a psychological journey to only buy figures that he can find in person now, and he's seeing that if he can get everybody, and can he save a lot of money doing it. So please tune into our regular episodes to see if Jaren misses anybody that actual gotta have.
So we've got Kentuckiana coming up, and all those vendors hook your boy up.
We'll see how our checklist is going after that. I got a couple things I still need to pick up from like the last show, but I'm doing pretty good overall. So Raptor, kind of a weird niche figure. Some people love him, some people hate him. He does get kind of swept to the side a little bit. So I'm happy that he got made, at a reasonably early time. And Raptor is one of the few figures that has definitely been modernized from all of his other versions, basically. And I think it works for him in a really solid way. It gives him a little bit more legitimacy. He doesn't look like a nerd. He looks cool. Is kind of buff. His outfit looks nice. And they took his wings, and they're all like Vulture from Spider-Man, or they're like really super high-tech, futuristic looking. They also look very cool. The like promo shots of Raptor when they were showing what he was going to look like out of the box were all very compelling, and I feel like the actual figure also delivers that. There are some little things that I think they could be fixed. Like there's no unmasked bird included, which I think is a bit of a flaw. Yeah. But as far as the overall just effect of the figure, it was not unlike Jaren finding a figure in the wild and opening it. I got kind of like excited about the character of Raptor, because I was like, this is a really cool re-envisioning, and I think I could like do something with that to make Raptor cool again.
I like the idea that like he's going to battle and he forgets to take his bird's little thing off, so the bird's just like, "Don't let me get shot! Don't let me get shot!" He can't do anything.
He just like flies right into a jetliner. Wally, no! I don't remember what's the name of his bird. I forgot. Admiral Ledger,
I like Wally.
I think.
I like Wally.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so what's your number? I forgot what number we're on already. Number 8?
Yeah.
What's your number 8?
My number 8 is the new release Cobra Commander, specifically the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. I didn't pick up the retro, but I would imagine they're like exactly the same. You just change the little, just a little dab of paint here.
So
is that on your list?
Yeah, let's lump those together. My number 3 choice is the retro Cobra Commander specifically.
Oh, not the Mickey Mouse.
Yes, I want you to speak about the Mickey Mouse version specifically, because I can summarize my thoughts very quickly. The retro Cobra Commander is good for all the reasons I've already said. The retro figures are good. It's a great classic version that replaced, and it's that original Cobra Commander is perfectly fine. He's a really cool modernized Cobra Commander. So having the retro one also, I feel like we're kind of playing both sides with it, and they did a great job. And it is literally just the Cobra Commander from the Hiss Tank HasLab, but without the Mickey Mouse logo. Jaren, why did you pick the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander?
Well, I picked it because it was the one I got. So if I had gotten the other one,
fair.
Looking back, I'm like, man, I should have just kept the other one. I should have kept the Mickey Mouse one in its packaging and bought the retro one. But I didn't. Oh, well. It's all right. But I mean, I don't know. I really like the figure. It's, once again, same thing with all the retros. The updating is of the actual figure itself is great. I don't know if you had the problems, but every version of the original, because I got 2 of the regular blue and then 1 of the Regal original release Cobra Commanders, they're not easy to stand up. Those guys,
No.
the ankles, they do not want to hang out. So it's nice to have one that I can just pose and he stays there, and I don't come in one day and they're all because of a Cobra Commander in the background. But
Because of gravity.
yeah, exactly. But I really like it, and I am glad that they did the retro so close to the Mickey Mouse. That way people... Now, granted, some people are still going to feel like they missed out because they're like true completionists. But for the most part, they should serve as kind of the same figure. They're very interchangeable, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Yes, it's a great figure. But either version you get is solid.
Yeah.
Number 7. My number 7 pick is Night Creeper, which is a very unusual choice for me because I do not pick troop builders hardly ever. It's different when you've got Bat Crimson Guard Vipers coming out in the first year, but after that, and you're down to Saw Vipers and Alley Vipers, those don't, I mean, they're fine, but that's going to have to be an absolute slam dunk to break into my top 10, and that's what this Night Creeper is. It looks amazing. It's got great posability. The accessory set is good. It comes with a Night Creeper V2 head for Jaren, and it's color coded to fit in. It builds the universe. It has something for everybody that collected Night Creepers all over. I mean, like, that's it. I can summarize it as cleanly as that. It captures what was great about the original. I don't feel like they really left anything out, and they added other little bits like that other head to just try to help make everybody happy. Did not have to do that, but I'm stoked that they did. Jaren, what's your number 7 pick?
So my number 7 is the Action Soldier. Before I get into that, I do have to say about your Night Creeper. Yes. I like the Night Creeper. He's probably top 15 for me, just barely missed the cut. And yes, you are correct. The moment I could pop that head off and put the better head on, I did immediately, baby. So anyway, my number 7, Action Soldier. Now this is one that when I first got it, it would have probably been in my top 3. As we've progressed, it's fallen a little bit. And the only thing I will say that actually hurts it is one of the more unique features, which is the little changing his, like the modular pieces on his web gear. So I love the figure. I think it's incredible. I love the variations you can do with it. I mean, you can make 10 different figures that don't look the same. You know, they give you different heads that help with representation. You've got different skin tones. And then you've also got different kits, different loadouts. You can do like a more like loose fitting with the little soft goods cape on it, or you can take that off. Like I said, the only thing that hampers it is those little pieces that pop on. Because if you pop them on there, the restriction that it has, which, I mean, to be fair, probably would happen if you were wearing that much gear like people in the military do. But as my toy, I'm like, come on, I want him to be able to do whatever. So, and then if you don't have them on there, it just looks very blatant that something is missing. So, that is also the same reason why, spoiler alert, Doc is not on my list. That little stuff. To me, I'm like, that's a really cool thing. I don't need it anymore. Like, I've honestly contemplated cutting off that web gear from those figures and from Doc just to improve the posability and stuff of those figures. So, but is Action Soldier on your list?
No way in the world.
Wow.
And to be quite honest, your compelling speech about how much you like it has melted my Grinch heart. Because I was going to tear into you for putting something on your list. It's not even a named Joe character. You might as well put the firefighter on there, Jaren. But it does make me happy to hear how much you enjoy that figure and the what you can do with it. So I'm happy for you and all the other people out there that like these no-name nothings that we're getting.
I mean, he is quite literally based on the original G.I. Joe, so...
and until I get a Joseph Colton, I'll still remain very bitter about it. No, I'm happy that you like them. I did buy those. I think they look fine. I just don't have anywhere for them in my collection. It's just not my cup of tea. But I don't deny. I do think they are well done. Number 6. Jaren, we already know your number 6 is Retro Beachhead, so we'll just dive right into mine. My number 6 pick is the Once a Man Cobra Commander. Is the Once a Man Cobra Commander on your list?
No, he's probably in that like 15 to 18 spot, you know.
Jared, you got a list like how many figures came? How many figures do you think came out in 2024, man?
Probably 20.
Somewhere in my top 143 figures, definitely.
Yeah. He's definitely in that top 143. No, he's in there for sure.
I'm surprised this figure didn't make your list because I know you were very excited for it. This is actually where the line kind of is drawn for me. Everything from here up, I feel like could be kind of going in almost in any order. This is another figure, not unlike Retro Cobra Commander. It's not something I actually had to have in my collection, or at least I didn't think so. But I'm always excited when Hasbro's making something that's been in our universe for a very long time that we've never seen a version of before. I think it means that they're listening or looking and exploring that maybe stuff that they really should have done a long time ago. Regardless about how you feel about the animated movie, we should have had this figure in place of maybe Cobra Law figures because he was such a critical thing. Anyway, they did a great job with it. It looks great. The accessory loadout's awesome. Interchangeable parts. Actual full-on, the whole Snake Cobra Commander is included. Like the packaging with the flip hologram stuff. It's a knockout, dude. It's a 9, maybe even a 10 out of 10. I have no real issues with it at all. I think it's a work of art, and I'm so happy that they made it. Can you tell me, since you don't have a figure to talk about this turn, can you just tell me briefly why this is not in your top 10?
So this is one that I also thought would have probably been in my top 10. He's weird. He's kind of different. I think for me, the problem was in my personal Joe universe, I haven't really figured out where he goes yet.
That's fair.
So I haven't worked him in yet. He's kind of like... I had him on my desk when I first unboxed him, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." Like, you know, I took his his vest off and just had him as the full on unit that he was.
Yeah, I remember.
This is pretty sweet. But it was just okay, and then I put him on the shelf, and I haven't figured out a reason for me to want to go back and get him out again. So that's really honestly, it's nothing negative in his. To the figure itself, I think it's actually a great figure. I like when they give us that variation. It's just it didn't pop for me.
Maybe when we finish the animated movie, you'll feel differently. But I can understand. You know, he represents a completely different continuity for most people.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other problem was that it was so close to the other retro Cobra Commander, and it was just
very true.
Cobra Commander, Cobra Commander, Cobra Commander, and I was like, okay, time for someone else.
I mean, just like Snake Eyes, man, they really burn them out. I'm not seeing a lot of that. Won't see a Snake Eyes on my list this year, I'll tell you that, and for very similar reasons. Let's move on to number 5. My number 5 pick is Clutch. Jaren, is Clutch on your top 10 list?
Clutch is on my top 10 list. Clutch is number 3 for me.
All right, take it away. Tell me what's so great about Clutch.
I love this figure. This to me is that's G.I. Joe right there. I don't know what it is. I can't quantify or really explain it. It's just when I see him and when I play with him, I'm like, heck yeah. Now it helps that he came with the vamp. That's definitely a big bonus.
Yes, it does.
He would honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy, he would probably be my number 1 spot if mine wasn't in a state of this for the first 6 months that I owned him. If I haven't talked about it on the podcast, which I think I have, the Clutch that I got had a the bottom of the pin on his elbow or on his armpit was covered with plastic. So I had to get an X-Acto knife and actually cut it out. And it still isn't perfect. He can get down to... He just looks like he's like this the whole time now, kind of.
Don't hold Hasbro's shoddy quality control against Clutch. It's not that poor guy's fault.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so I love this figure. I love that they give him the helmet is a big piece for me. The anything that comes with that helmet is already creeping up into the but I don't have him wearing the helmet. I just always have him holding the helmet or keeping it around. He's got it in the driver's seat, like keeping the spot warm. But I love this clutch. I think the accessories, the little like wrench that they gave him, and all the pieces of the vamp that you can have him like working on it with, and I'm like,
yes.
It's honestly like that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, it's that kind of stuff that shows the care and the attention to detail to a figure that like really knocks it out of the park. So if I had a clutch that was like, if I didn't have to do surgery on, he might have been number one. Honestly, I really enjoy that clutch figure.
Yes, I'll say briefly that it's a perfect storm. Take an OG-13 character, don't change his design too much, but capture what is there, the mechanic vibe of his outfit. Color palette, perfect. Vehicle aside, because we're not really talking about that. Helmet aside, because I don't need that at all. Great, just a great head mold. Again, taking a character that we have been imagining how he looks as children for a long time based on various media sources, combining all that and then making a very excellent head mold is extremely challenging, and Clutch is just about the perfect example. If he came with a toothpick, he'd be a flawless figure, in my opinion. What's your number 5 pick?
So my number 5 is the recency bias, maybe, of Wild Bill. I love Wild Bill. Is he on your list?
Yes, Wild Bill's my number 4 pick.
Oh, take it away.
So we're really getting down to the nitty gritty now. So that's, really not much different than how I feel about Clutch. Another classic figure that needs a little bit of not modernizing, but like interpretation in the face when you're making those head molds. All the stuff that like comes apart from Wild Bill, that's like his hat and stuff that still works and fits well. The color scheme, the pistols, he looks great. The back of the box art for Wild Bill, which has this like, I have Ripcord at hand just randomly, but there's a Wild Bill one, and that art is like some of the best G.I. Joe art I've ever seen on a figure. Just top to tails, perfect. I would be mad if I didn't back the Dragonfly, because the inevitable wait for a regular version of Wild Bill would drive me crazy. He's a great figure.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I've seen some discourse about him online, about his guns. Do you know anything about that?
In what sense? I've not had any issues with him, although he's holding them, where I've got him posed. So if it's like a holster thing, it might be.
I've seen just people saying that they had to upgrade them, and that, to me, they seem like perfectly fine little 6-shooters, but I don't know for sure. I just seen people posting about it, so I wasn't sure if you knew. I didn't know if it was like, actually, he's supposed to have golden ones, or whatever.
Oh no, they're probably like Wessons, like they're like revolvers, like the old cowboy style. They look like that to me, but what do I know? We don't have a gun guy, so
true. But I really like the figure. I think the likeness, it's almost, in my opinion, almost got like a Kurt Russell vibe to it, which honestly, I'm okay with.
Sure.
That works. But the figure is actually really good. I like the fact that they give you the hat with the hair to put on. I think that's a great thing. The only thing I don't love is glasses. Me and classified with glasses, it's hard.
Yes.
That's the only thing that I could say is at all a negative point, in my opinion, on that figure. But giving me the regular just hair so that he can hold his hat, or his hat with his hair, I think that's the best way to handle it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's still a perfect storm. We'll talk about this on a later episode when we have more time, but I also have big issues with the glasses. Either make them work or don't do it. And yes, to your opinion, if you can't do it, that's okay. It's all right, buddy. I understand the complexities of your job. Just attach them. I'll forgive you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
all right.
Give us a hat, hair, and glasses, and then give us one where he has his glasses off and his hat off, and we can pose him with his glasses and his hat, saying like,
problem solved. Bill's in the mail has, bro. All right, let's move on to number 4. My number 4 choice was Wild Bill, which I just talked about. So, Jaren, what's your number 4 choice?
My number 4, and I think this might be, to me, the biggest pull, and it might be the least popular opinion out of either list. My number 4, and once again, I know we did a disclaimer, but I think he's a 2024. When I went back online, it said he was a 2024 figure. If he's not, I'm sorry. I did my best. But my number 4, without, I'm building all the anticipation for you guys to hate me, Wolf Spider. I love Wolf Spider. I have multiple Wolf Spiders now. I've made him almost into like a troop builder as well. But the actual Wolf Spider is fantastic, perfect, and I don't want any negativity again.
Jaren, stop. Ask me if Wolf Spider is on my top 10 list, Jaren.
Hey, Greg. Is Wolf Spider on your list?
No, he's not on my list. I mean, I guess if I'm going to let Soldier pass, at least this dude has a code name. No face, obviously. You know what? I said I wouldn't do this. New year, new me, Jaren. Why do you test me this way? Tell me what's so great about Wolf Spider.
I don't get what you don't like about Wolf Spider. He's incredible. So, listen. Okay. First off, 2025 needs to be the year of Wolf Spider. Let's get him in the comic. Let's get him in a cartoon.
Let's get him in
trash
cans.
Let's make a solo movie. Okay. Let's get him his own box of cereal. I mean, I'm serious. Let's do this. Let's just fully lean in. Okay. I know we got the new guy in the comic. He's all right. He's not Wolf Spider. Okay. He's it is what it is. But no. So all jokes aside, I actually really do like this figure. The body mold that they used for him, they've used for quite a few. It's not like anything new. But it's a new character, and there's not really a whole bunch of established lore, so I can do whatever the heck I want with him. I can use him for anything. He's in the Night Force, which is like my favorite colorway, and I think just about everybody's favorite colorway, so I think that helps too. I want to see a non-Night Force Wolf Spider. Maybe give him some crazy neon. You know what? Start Eco Warriors with
No, my spell worked.
Oh, my Wolf Spider.
You're going off the rails a little bit there, buddy.
My Wolf Spider take was killing me.
I'm gonna need you to reel this big fish back in, champ.
You know what? Start every sub team with Wolf Spider. Just go ahead. Give me an Eco Warriors. Give me a Star Brigade Wolf Spider. Okay? I don't care. Let's go for it. 2025. Let's do it.
All right.
This is the best list you guys have ever heard in your life.
Number 3. In an unusual turn of events, our number 3s have both already been discussed. My number 3, as a reminder, was Retro Cobra Commander, and Jaren's number 3 was Clutch. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
You are right.
So, this is the buy round. Let's move on to number 2. Jaren's number 2 choice was Retro Duke. I guess I didn't anticipate how much faster we were going to be working up the list as we started. But my number 2 pick has not been discussed yet, and it's Doc. Jaren, is Doc on your top 10 list?
No, he's not. I like Doc.
Interesting.
Not on my top 10. It's those dang modular peg things. I'm telling you. I might just, after we were done recording, I might just chop it off just to see if I like him anymore.
Doc is one of the rare examples of a figure that I feel like we've recently been classifying as kind of bland OG. I use Airborne as an example a lot. A figure that I'm like, yes, this is what Airborne V1 looked like, and it does not excite me at all, despite the fact that I love this character. I feel like Doc could have very easily fallen into that trap, and for whatever reason, doesn't. Has a lot of, like, I don't know, there's just a lot of, like, energy coming off of that figure. He's got a lot of personality when you look right at him. His accessory set is great. He just looks like the Doc that I think of when I think of, like, Marvel Comics Doc. And he's got like a really fun accessory set. You can do a lot with him. He's not just another traditional, like, I'm going to make a diorama and I got another guy that's shooting people. He's the first medic. We didn't get Lifeline I mean, obviously we're not going to get Stretcher anytime soon, but it's just, I'm glad that the earlier characters are still getting slotted in, even when they might not be quite as popular as other, like, major characters. Jaren, why no Doc?
So
what's up, Doc?
It really comes down to those pieces. It just
those modular pegs.
Yeah, like it just. I got so it hurt me so much on the Action Soldier because it was one of my favorite figures, and I just started getting really annoyed with it. You know, when you take them to take pictures or whatever, they start falling off, and it's just a fight. And so I think when I unboxed him, and I was like, oh, he's got these too. I kind of like put the piece on, and I was just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I think you're absolutely correct about all your opinions on him. It's just I find myself not wanting to deal with the mess of worrying about his pieces.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that you can be as hypercritical of G.I. Joe as I can. It's really the next step in becoming a serious collector is just really
evolving.
overanalyzing every single little dumb thing that you look at. All right, we're here. Let's talk about. I'm going to be surprised if we have the same thing because we would have eliminated it by the process of not. Number one. Jaren, my number one choice for 2024 classified is none other than a Retro Scarlet. Is Retro Scarlet your number one choice for 2024 also?
Nope.
What is your number one pick for 2024?
My number one pick for 2024 is Ripcord.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'm going to talk about mine, dude. We'll get into that in a second. I'm not going to crap on your number one for sure, but and I would argue that there are issues with this Retro Scarlet that people have that I think are valid just in terms of the overall design of the figure. But like every other retro figure on here, it was just another figure that I felt so excited to see, and part of that was, again, because I just didn't expect it to really I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did with me already having a Scarlet in my collection. But everything down from the outfit design to the accessory set to the redesigned face to look kind of more like the Scarlet we've envisioned, it's just a slam dunk across the board. I've always been a big fan of the female figures in general anyway because there's so few of them overall. So I like that we're getting so many of them at this point in the line that they've spaced them out kind of appropriately. And I do feel like Scarlet is one of the few female figures that I feel like does kind of get a lot of versions overall. I would not be mad to see another classified Scarlet down the line with another a third take or her Renegades outfit, another redesign. I just like Scarlet. Scarlet I also think makes a pretty good baseline for female customs. This Retro Scarlet specifically, which has a kind of a streamlined just vest, I feel like you could do a lot with it.
Great figure. I will not say anything negative about that figure. Specifically about that figure. The only reason she has fallen out of my top 10, because she had been in my top 10. All of the newer retro figures were in my top 10 for most of the year. Honestly, I love playing with all of them. The only reason she has fallen out of my top 10 is because we got the almost same figure twice in the last couple months. We got the Coral with the Night Force Coral, and then we got the Glinda with the HasLab. And I'm just like, you guys know we could use a different. You could make another body for a female character. It doesn't have to be the exact same one. Now I get with the way that the Glinda, it really should be that, but they could do another body mold so that every single female doesn't feel the exact same. Will they? No, they'll never do it.
No, absolutely not. Did you buy it? Yep. Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep doing it then, champ.
So that is the only thing that has actively hampered that figure, and it's nothing against that figure. I think that figure is great. Once again, it's one that when you get it out, it really does, in my opinion, feel like a higher quality figure than what people would think of with the $20, $25 figure now. But it's just,
it does.
I'm like, okay, it's the same.
It does. It really comes alive. A total validity to what you're saying, and it's funny that that stuff doesn't bother me because they're two, air quotes here, unique characters, and because they were both, yes, again, lazy man out here, but they were both originally Scarlet repaints. Yeah. Hasbro, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're never going to stop repainting. Yeah. Whoever discovered that in the '80s should be put in the G.I. Joe Dishonor Hall of Fame. So I'll just go ahead and say, that I actually really don't have anything negative to say about your figure either. The only reason that it's still here and unboxed is because I have a very common approach that I will not open figures that are going to get a recolor in the design that I want to display them with. And I think we're all smart enough to know that we will see this Ripcord again in his traditional green.
Oh, yeah.
So I just leave these unopened because I know that I'll have a better display at some point, probably this year down the road if I'm confident. So I have nothing negative to say about this figure at all. So with that in mind, tell me why he's your number one.
So he's kind of in a weird position, like kind of a unique position, because he's someone who's supposed to like jump out of things and fly, and he came with a vehicle that most of the time people aren't jumping out of willingly. But that aside, the figure itself, it shares a lot of construction with like if I remember correctly, it's been a minute, so don't yell at me if I'm wrong. I believe it shares the same body as the Wild Bill. Like the actual base body. If you look at his shins, you'll see the zip on his thing, the same flight suit that Wild Bill has. So I believe they're the same. And I love the body on Wild Bill. I think that the posability of that figure compared to how big he looks is actually incredible. You know, he looks kind of bulky with that flight suit on, but he can still hit just about every pose that I would want. There's something about the helmet that just really puts him over the top for me. The way that the helmet can be displayed with the mask coming over it, with the breather kind of apparatus thing, the way it all ties in, I think it looks and feels really cool, and it all works together really well. And then the fact that you can have him like landing with his rifle, he's got his full like whole kit on, he just looks really cool. I've always been a fan of masked figures anyway. That's why I think I like some of the like weirder helmets. That's why I like Mandalorians. That's why I collect clone troopers. You know, so like I think that also helps. He's not going to be unmasked a whole lot for me, but there's something about the color scheme and everything like that just really, when I'm wanting to just tinker around with a figure, more often than not I'll grab him. He's just such a fun little figure. He's got a different variation. I like that his backpack or his parachute functions. So I've put like his goggles in it. I've put Wild Bill's glasses in it. I'm like, I can't lose them here.
Can't lose them here. Hang on to these for me, old pard. I'm going fine.
So, it's that's a practical use for it, but it is fun. And it's a figure that more times than not, if I'm doing anything with the figure or with figures, I still have him with me. He's one. So to let you in on a little project of mine at work, I've been taking one figure from Star Wars, Batman, and I'm taking it and putting it at work with me. And Ripcord is in my consideration. Ripcord, Retro Duke, and then who knows who else. But those are like my considerations for which figure I'm gonna take and put with me at work, because I got a little display set up, I got a little Lego thing set up, so he's in his final consideration, which is also why he's in the top spot, because I think he represents all my favorite things about the G.I. Joe classified line.
Those are all great reasons, and he is a very good figure, I agree. Jaren, do you think if Toy Story was real, taking the toy to work would be like the ultimate promotion, or would it be like in Toy Story 3 where they end up in the like nursery and they get all destroyed? Something
that's
to think
interesting.
About.
That's interesting. I would think, just first, without really putting any thought into it, I think promotion, only because I spend way more time there. And because my job allows me to, like, I'm, like, uploading photos, so there's a lot of downtime. So I get to play with them a lot more. So I would think it would be a promotion. And they're not alone.
I get that.
It's not, like, just one figure. And they're not in, like, a case. They're just on my desk set up. So people can walk by and be like, that guy's a nerd. And they get it. So, I think promotion.
And they can tamper with the cars while everybody's gone.
Yeah, I leave my door in my office is unlocked, so they can.
They're
do
like driving.
they want.
They're like doing test drives on the street. Sorry,
Yeah.
That's our top 10 of 2024. I knew it would be different. We actually shared a little bit more than I thought, so that warms my heart. Perhaps your list is different. Perhaps you strongly disagree. Let us know, at least about the first part. If you strongly disagree, maybe give it a couple hours and then think about whether or not you want to write me a strongly worded email. You can leave a reply or leave a comment here in our YouTube section with just drop the top 10 right there. We'll look at it. Or you can email us directly to anythingjoespodcast@gmail.com or anythingjoespod@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you. You can also find us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram at anythingjoespod. Whew. That's a lot, but there's plenty of ways to get a hold of us, and we would love to hear what your thoughts on the year 2024 in classifieds were. What's your hits? What's your misses? Just give us the whole rundown. Jaren and I will be back in 2 short weeks. We have a ton of stuff to get caught up on, so I'm just not going to throw out what we're going to talk about because it will be a surprise for us all. And again, thanks so much for hanging in there while we took a little break and just kind of recharged our batteries. I'm looking forward to get back into it. We got a bunch of stuff to pick up on, and Jaren, I got so much, I might not have got anything for Christmas, but buddy, I got plenty of toys to talk about. So, we'll try to set some time aside and do some recent acquisitions. Lastly, I've released my second album of weird G.I. Joe music online for no one to listen to, but I'm making it. I'm going to continue to make it. No one can stop me from making it. I'm going to share it just in case there's one other person out there that wants to listen to it. It's called File Cards Volume 2. It's available for free on all streaming services, and I appreciate it if you check it out. And if you don't, no big deal. We're still buddies. Don't worry about it. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in just 2 short weeks where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Joe's.